Hello everyone. So in the previous class we have studied about what is a process. Okay, so what do you mean by process? Process is defined as a sequence of steps that uses inputs to produce output. And also we studied what is a process from engineering perspective, and also we studied what is a process from business perspective. Okay, so engineering perspective is nothing but we takes the inputs and convert the inputs into the raw material, converts the inputs into the finished goods. Okay, what do you mean by process from the business perspective? It is nothing but flow of data from one department to another department, and it also creates a value to the external customer or internal customer. So this we have already studied in the definition of a process, and also we studied what is a process from engineering perspective, and also we studied what is a process from business perspective. Okay, and also we studied what are the differences between an function based organization and also process based organization. Also we have studied. Okay, so we also studied what do you mean by business process flow as well. So and also we studied about business process management. Okay, so what do you mean by business process management? Also we studied, and we have already studied what is the definition of this particular business process management. Now we will continue with a few other questions in the business process management. So let us start with what are the primary benefits. Let us start with a particular question. Primary benefits. Primary benefits of using technology for BPM. Okay, so what are the primary benefits if at all you are using technology for BPM? In the previous class, I clearly explained you. Okay, BPM is only a theoretical description. Okay, so if at all you want to explain a process by way of a diagram, in the mapping systems also I already conveyed you. Mapping systems are nothing but a description. Okay, a diagrammatical description of an process, because it is very difficult. Okay, if I write a particular process, what do you mean by process? It consists of sequence of steps. Okay, so if I write a sequence of steps in like English words, it is very difficult for a user to comprehend. Okay, so that is the reason these particular mapping systems and process management will help us to understand a particular process by way of a diagrammatical representation. Okay, so in the previous class, I clearly explained business process management is only a diagrammatical representation or for the purpose of understanding a process by way of a process flow. Okay, however, whether by just drawing a business process management, can we achieve anything? No, we cannot achieve anything. We always require a technology to implement that particular process. When I say process, to implement that sequence of steps, then only we can achieve certain benefits. Okay, now let us see what are certain benefits. Okay, what are certain benefits by using technology for BPM. Okay, so basically we have three benefits. Okay, so if at all you see benefits, we have three benefits. Okay, so what is the first benefit? Using this particular, if at all you use technology for business process management, okay, so automatically there will be an automated coordination of activities. Automated coordination of there will be an automated coordination of activities. Okay, so this is the first benefit. Okay, so what is the first benefit? Always there will be an automated coordination of certain activities. So what is the second benefit? Second benefit is nothing but, okay, we have certain tasks. Okay, so we can distribute task, or we can call it as tasks, to process participants. Okay, so this is the second benefit, okay, to process participants we can, okay, distribute the tasks. This is the second benefit, okay. And what is the last benefit? Last benefit is nothing but we can, okay, with this particular automation or using technology for business process management, okay, reduce we can reduce a human effort, we can reduce a human effort, and improve we can improve quality. Okay, so these are the three benefits. Okay, so what are the three benefits by using technology for BPM? Okay, as I said, BPM is only a diagrammatical representation. So if once you give that particular representation or once you define that particular process, if at all you are using a technology to automate that particular process, then what are the benefits? Okay, so what is the first benefit? Using an automation, if at all you automate that particular business process using a technology, the first benefit is automated coordination of activities. What is the second benefit? Distribution task of process participants, and third one, reduce human effort to improve quality. Okay, so these are the three benefits, okay, if at all you use technology for the purpose of BPM. Okay, now let us take a small example in order to understand this particular benefits. Now let us say, okay, we have a process. Let us assume we have an accounting process. Accounting process. Okay. So in accounting process, what exactly happens? Okay. So we have certain transactions. We have certain transactions. Now these transactions, what do? We convert them into journals. After that, we convert them into ledgers. Then we convert them into P&L. Then finally, we'll get an balance sheet. Okay. Now, can I call this as a business process? Yes, I call this as a business process. Okay. So it is nothing but definition, or it is nothing but a business process. It is nothing but a business process. Okay. Now, just by writing this particular thing, can I improve anything? No. Okay. I have to convert these particular stages using technology. Now let us say I use an accounting software. Okay. So I use an accounting software. So can I call accounting software as a technology? Yes. Okay. So I use accounting software. Let us assume an software like Oracle Finance. Oracle Finance. Okay. So I'm using an accounting software. Okay. So let us say here journals will be recorded by an assistant manager. Okay. Ledgers will be prepared by, or okay, once journals are prepared, automatically it will be converted into ledgers. Okay, there is no requirement again to convert them into ledgers, nothing. Okay, once you record journals, automatically system will take, or the software will convert them into ledgers. However, there should be a verification whether the entries are properly assigned. Okay, so let us say the verification of these particular ledgers will be done by a deputy manager. Okay, now once ledgers are verified, the next stage, let us say this P&L verification. Okay, here also automatically once the ledgers, okay, you have, and if at all you want to do any adjustments, once you do the adjustments, okay, automatically a PL will be generated. Okay, let us say this will be done by the manager, and finally the verification of a balance sheet will be done by, let us say, senior manager. Okay, so what exactly happened? Okay, we have defined a business process and we have assigned a task. Okay, so internally, like let us say, okay, so what is the first benefit, sir? Automated coordination of activities. Okay, that means, now let us say if assistant manager records the journals, automatically, okay, the system will send the details to the next person, that is nothing but deputy manager. Okay, now once ledgers are verified or adjustments are taken place, then okay, they'll automatically the system will send all the transactions to the P&L. Okay, there is no manual intervention, automatically it will be done. Okay, so what is the first benefit, sir? Automated coordination of activities. That means assistant manager does does something, and the next step will be done by the deputy manager automatically. Okay, there will not be any manual intervention. Automatically the transaction will be pushed to the next person. Once deputy manager does something, okay, it will be pushed to the manager. Once a manager does something, okay, it will be pushed to the balance sheet. Okay, I mean, it will be pushed to the senior manager. Okay, same example which I gave you, okay, when we are studying RAC and RBAC, okay, role-based access controls and rule-based access controls. In rule-based access controls, I clearly explained, okay, like let us say if assistant manager applies leave, okay, it will be sent to the deputy manager. So this is also called as, okay, automated coordination of activities and also distribution of tasks, okay, in process management. Okay, now why do we require this automation? Simple. Okay, so first one we understood, okay, automated coordination of activities. That means the persons or the people will have automated coordination, okay, because of software. Okay, so one person does something, automatically the data will be pushed to the next person. Okay, so here once journals are entered by the assistant manager, the details will be seen by the deputy manager. So do you have to do anything? No, automatically the system will push that particular data to the next person. Okay, so that is called as automated coordination of activities. Now here, what is the second benefit? Distributed task of process participation. Okay, so here we clearly define, okay, the assistant manager does one thing, okay, deputy manager does one thing. So what exactly we are doing? If at all you are using a software, I am distributing the task, okay, what exactly that person has to do. Okay, so that is the second benefit. And third one, automatically, because once the journals are done, okay, so automatically throughout only the recording will happen at the stage, at the first stage, that is at journals. Okay, so once that is done, okay, the rest of the thing, okay, will require a minimal human intervention, okay, not a heavy human intervention. Okay, very small participation is required. The rest of the things will be managed by the software itself. So what is happening? We are reducing the human effort and also we are improving the quality, because when there is no human intervention, what will happen? The error rate will be reduced. When the error rate is reduced, what will happen? The quality will be improved. Okay, so these are benefits, primary benefits of using technology for business process management. Okay, now let us see the material. So these are the three primary benefits, right? Primary benefits of using technology for BPM. Okay, so the primary benefits are, first one is automated coordination of activities. This is the first benefit. What is the second benefit? Second benefit is nothing but distribution of task to process participants. This is the second one. And third one, okay, so it has the ability to process more with less effort and higher quality. So these are the three benefits. Okay, now let us go to the next question. So next question is about what are BPM principles, BPM principles and practices. Okay, so there is no requirement for you to break your head. Okay, it is a very simple thing. First we'll study about BPM principles, BPM principles, and after that we'll study BPM practices. Okay, so what are, okay, we have four basic principles. First one, always business processes should be treated as an organization assets. Okay, it should be treated as an organization assets. This is the first practice. Okay, earlier these business processes were never used to be an organization assets. Okay, so why this should be this should be treated as an organization asset? The reason is simple. Okay, if at all you don't treat them as an assets, then okay, if at all if you treat them, sorry, if you treat them as an asset, then there will be a continuously monitoring of these particular assets, and always your, okay, motto or objective will be on the, okay, value creation. Okay, so first one is always you should treat these business processes as an organization asset. Okay, second, these business processes okay, should be monitored, controlled, and analyzed. For what purpose? For creating consistent value. For creating consistent value to customer. So consistent value to the customer. Okay. So like let us say if at all you have a car manufacturing company. Okay. Now let us say you have Hyundai. Okay. So let us say i10. Okay. i10 is giving a mileage of, let us assume, like 14 kilometers per liter, and you are coming with a next version, okay, like i20 version 2. Okay, now in i20 version 2, okay, if at all that i20 version 2 is giving 8 kilometers or 7 kilometers per liter, then will anybody will purchase that particular car? No sir. If i10 version 1 is giving like 15 kilometers per liter, okay, there should be an obviously a consistent improvement. Okay, like in i10 version 2, it has to give at least like more than 15, like 16 or 17. Then the customers will tend to purchase that particular product. Okay, and when obviously when you are changing the versions, always it should be a value to the customer. Okay, if at all the same product you cannot sell it for like 10 years or 20 years without any improvement. No. Okay, the second business practice is always a business process should give a consistent value to the customers. This is the second one. And third one, business process, as I already told you, should be continuously improved. If at all you won't improve continuously, okay, you will be out of the market. Okay, so always, okay, if at all you are not improving your product, okay, or if at all you are not adopting the latest technologies, you become obsolete in the market. A perfect example is Nokia. Okay, do you think Nokia doesn't provide a quality product? No. Okay, it provides a very very high quality product. Okay, even if you see certain versions of Nokia like 1100, okay, the Nokia, okay, it's a very very tough phone. Okay, so even if you if you throw that particular phone from fifth floor or 10th floor, okay, uh, even then the mobile will not be broken. Okay, it is not possible. It's a very very hard material, and it is okay, like even if you throw in the water also, the product is very good. Okay, you can wipe it off and you can normally use that particular product. But what happened to Nokia? It did not improve continuously. That is the reason. Okay, it was out of the market. Like Nokia was using Symbian operating system. Okay, and during that particular time, okay, we got Android like touch interface, and people started using that touch interface and left the Nokia behind. Even the product was good. Okay, they have a reluctance to improve that particular product. That is the reason it became out of the market. Okay, so always, okay, this product should be continuously improved. This is the third reason. And last reason, okay, adopting information technology. Okay, business processes, okay, as I told you, okay, without with the diagrams, business process diagrams, we cannot do anything. Okay, obviously we need to implement by using information technology. Okay, so always you need to have an information technology. Without information technology, it's not possible. Okay, so you have to, like, let us say your accounting system, earlier it should be a manual. Okay, right now it is an automated. Okay, so how we did automation? Okay, automation is done only because of the softwares and or information technology. So these are the four business process management practices. Now let us study what are the business process management sorry, we have studied business process management principles. Now let us study what are business process management practices. Okay, we have few business process management practices. Like okay, first one, the top level management should support. Okay, so if you want to convert a particular functional organization into a business process management or a business process, then top level management support should be there. Without their support, can we do anything? It's not possible. So there should be a support from the top level management, and these top level management, okay, so should strive for process oriented organization. Okay, they should be striving. Okay, they want it. Okay, at any cost they want this particular business process orientation. Okay, and next one, uh, they have to train the people continuously. Train people continuously. Okay, so without training, if at all you're okay, like simple example, like let us say if at all you are joining in any company, okay, so once you qualify, you join in any company, okay, so in that particular company, let us say you are working as an income tax like manager, okay, and you got vexed with like reading or you are not upgrading yourself, okay, so over a period of time, what will happen to you, okay, your knowledge will be faded off, okay, because the tax amendments, okay, will be changing drastically, okay, over a period of time you become obsolete if at all you are not updating your knowledge, okay. So that is the reason organization will make compulsory to attend certain trainings, even if you see ICAI, okay. So once you are done with your like final, okay, they say, okay, every year you should require 25 credits, okay, that means you need to attend 25 trainings, okay, because there should be a continuously improvement, okay, if you attend a training, so that you will be updated and you can provide an value to the organization, okay. So always you have to train the people. This is the like third practice, okay. And fourth one, always, okay, employee bonus and rewards, okay, so always align employee bonus and rewards, okay. Always you need to, when if at all a person is doing any job, especially in the software industry, okay, so if an employee does anything, you have to give the bonus and rewards, a very important thing in software industry. So in software industry, human I mean intelligence is a very important aspect, okay. So if at all you won't award that particular person, or if at all you won't give any benefit or reward, okay, for the work he done, okay, for the work done by a particular employee, then the employee will not be retained, okay. So if at all the organization wants to retain that employee, obviously you have to give certain bonuses and rewards, okay. So these are few business process management practices, okay. So what is the first principle? The first principle is always business process should be treated as an asset. So second principle is always it has to provide a consistent value to the customer. Third, continuously improve the product. Fourth, always use information technology as an enabler for BPM. Okay, and we have studied four practices. Top level management should have the support, and they have to strive for business process management, and you have to train the people, and always employee bonus and align employee bonus and rewards, okay. So these are certain business process management practices, okay. Now let us go to the next topic, okay. So we have different types of, okay, process oriented organization structures, okay. So let us study process oriented organization structures. Process oriented organization structures. Now let us see different types of process oriented organization structures, okay. So first one is, we have three types, okay. How many types we have? We have three types. So first one is process organization. Second one is case management organization, and third one is horizontal process management. So how many types we have, sir? We have three types, okay. So first one is process organization, second is case management organization, third one is horizontal process management, okay. So what do you mean by process organization? Process organization is nothing but we have certain process lines. We have certain process lines, okay. So what do you mean by process lines? Like let us say we in a company we have different projects, okay, like project 1, project 2, like we will be having a number of projects, okay. A company will be doing a number of projects, okay. Now Yes, if we have multiple projects, and if at all we have a similar function, okay, functions that supports these processes, then it is called as process organization. For example, like let us say we have certain common okay, background processes like accounts department, finance department, tax department. Okay, so for this particular process, okay, you have similar functions like, okay, for this process accounting team will be same, finance team will be same, and tax team will be same. Okay, and also for this second project accounts team will be same, finance team will be same, and tax team will be same. Okay, so if you see what do you mean by process organization, it is nothing but we have certain process lines, okay, and we have certain, okay, certain functions that supports these processes. Okay, we have certain common functions. I can call them as certain common functions. Okay, so this type of organization structure is called as a process organization structure. Okay, second one is called as case management organization. Okay, so what do you mean by case management organization? Case management organization is nothing but, let us say we have a project. We have a project. In this project, let us say there's an employee working in that particular project. Now, if the employee, okay, now for this project, we have a manager called as a case manager. Okay, who is a case manager? Is the head of the person who has to, okay, lead that particular project. Okay, now this employee will be reporting to the case manager and also a functional head. Okay, and also functional head. Okay, for example, okay, so COO, who is COO? Chief Operating Officer. Okay, so he'll be reporting to the case manager, and also if at all he reports to the functional head, then that type of that type of structure is called as case management organization. Okay, simple. Okay, so a single person will be reporting to two persons. Okay, then that is called one is like a case manager, one is an, okay, functional head. Then that type of structure is called as a case management case management organization. And last one is called as organization process management. It's a simple thing, especially a software company will adopt this particular structure. Like let us say a software company got a project from, okay, like HSBC. Okay, so what is HSBC? Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. Okay, so a particular software company got this particular project. Okay, now if this particular project will be looked after, okay, a person called as a project manager. Okay, a project manager. Now this project manager, we call him as a process owner. A process owner. Who is a process owner? He is the head of that particular project. Okay, nobody can interfere with the decisions taken by that particular process owner. He is the head. Okay, he is responsible to deliver the project from end to end. Okay, so from the starting till the end, okay, he is the responsible person to deliver the project to the end customer. Okay, so this type of management, okay, or this type of organization structure is called as horizontal process management. Okay, so these are three types of structures. Okay, so we already studied BPM principles and practices. So explain about three types of process oriented organization. So this aligns the organization structure along the process lines. Okay, each process unit contain various functions that supports the process. Okay, I already told this particular thing. So you have these process lines, and these process lines are supported by certain common functions. Okay, so that type of structure is called as a process organization structure. Second one is a case management. So here in these organization structures, employees still report to the functional heads. In addition, they also report to the case manager. Okay, so the case manager has the responsibility to support the end-to-end process of that particular project. Okay, next, horizontal process management. Okay, we create a process owners. Okay, as I told you. Okay, like HSBC, you will be having a project manager. Project manager is nothing but a process owner. Okay, who are responsible for core processes. These core processes include to order to cash, product development. When I say product development, software development. Okay, purchase to pay, etc. So these are three types of structures which we have. Okay, now after this, okay, so we'll be entering into a particular, okay, questions, okay, where we'll be having certain life cycles. Okay, like we studied SDLC. What is SDLC? Software development life cycle. Okay, So in the software development lifecycle, we have various steps. Okay, like we have 5 steps. Okay, so once you adopt that particular 5 steps, then we'll be getting output as an as a software. Okay, here in this particular thing, okay, we'll be having certain life cycles. Okay, so we have like BPM. Okay, we have BPM. Second, we have Six Sigma. Six Sigma, and also we have TQM, Total Quality Management, and finally we have a particular question on BPR. Okay, so we already know what is BPM. BPM is nothing but business process management. Okay, so we already know what is BPM, business process management. Okay, so what is Six Sigma, we'll see. Okay, then next one is TQM. What do you mean by TQM? Total Quality Management. What do you mean by BPR? BPR is nothing but business process re-engineering. Okay, business process re-engineering. Okay, so in what context? Okay, context is very important, sir. Okay, so without understanding the context, okay, it's very difficult, okay, for us to write the answers. Okay, so business process management is nothing but defining a particular process. Okay, if at all you have any, okay, like any, if at all you want to design any department, like finance department, accounts department, or sales department. Okay, like in sales department, who has to raise, okay, who has to receive the purchase order. Okay, and once he receives the purchase order, to whom he has to send that particular purchase order, etc. All these particular designs, okay, inside an organization structure, how the information has to move from one person to another person, all the designs will be done using a life cycle called as, okay, business process management process cycle. Okay, business process management cycle, or okay, it's nothing but you have few steps, okay, that we'll see. Okay, so why do we require this particular business process management life cycle, especially, okay, for the purpose of designing, okay, like flow of data. Okay, for the purpose of designing flow of data, I can call it in ERP. What is ERP? Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay, now we have different phases, like we have first phase, analysis phase, we have second phase, design phase, we have third phase, implementation phase. Okay, so we have three and sorry, we have four, run and monitor phase, run and monitor, and fifth phase is optimization, optimize phase. Okay, so how many phases we have, sir? We have okay, like 5 phases. First one is analysis, second is design, third one is implementation, run, monitor, and optimize. Okay, we can call these will be in similar lines of SDLC only. Okay, so in analysis phase, okay, we understand the needs. Okay, if you remember SDLC also I told you. Okay, so what do you mean by systems investigation? Understanding the needs of the customer. Okay, here also we understand or identify the needs and define requirements. Okay, what exactly we require. Okay, so that is called as analysis phase. It is okay, I can compare this same with SDLC first phase. Okay, in the first phase we already studied, okay, systems investigation is nothing but identifying the needs of the customer. Here also we have the same. Okay, second one is nothing but design phase. In this particular phase, okay, evaluation of solutions. Okay, so I have a problem, simple. Okay, first one, identification of a problem. Second is evaluating a solution. Okay, for every problem there might be, sometimes they'll be having only one solution, sometimes, okay, they'll be having more than one solution. Okay, so you have, for like, let us say you have a problem. Okay, for this problem you have three solutions: solution 1, solution 2, and solution 3. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to evaluate these particular solutions. Okay, and okay, you have to evaluate this particular solution as per your business requirement. Okay, uh, like let us say, okay, like let us say we want to transmit the data from one point to another point. Okay, so my business requirement is, I want, okay, like the cost should be less. Okay, so for the purpose of, what is the problem, you want to transmit the data from one place to another place. Okay, so how do we transmit the data using telecommunication medium? How many types of guided medium, we have three types of guided medium, like you have okay, like twisted pair, coaxial cable, and optical fiber cable. Whether three can transmit the data? Yes. Okay, so solution one is twisted pair, solution two is coaxial cable, solution three is okay, optical fiber cable. So what is the problem? Problem is nothing but I want to transmit the data. So what are, how many solutions you have? You have three solutions. Okay, but what is the requirement of the customer? I want to transmit the data. Let us say the business requirement of the customer is I want to transmit the data at a cheaper price. Okay, go for twisted pair. Okay, so second, okay, like let's second business requirement, second person wants to transmit the data, even though it is little bit costly, it's fine, but there should not be any noise or electrical interference. Okay, then coaxial cables are better. Okay, now let us say the third requirement, third business person, okay, he also wants to transmit the data, but he wants to transmit the data at a very faster way and low electrical inference. Cost is not a worry. Okay, then give him an optical fiber cable. So what is the first phase? Analysis phase, identification of the needs, okay, or identification of a problem. Second, okay, evaluate solutions. Okay, you have one problem, you have multiple solutions. Out of the multiple solutions, you are supposed to select the possible, okay, solution which is as per your business needs. Okay, so after that, implementation. Okay, now after you have three solutions, let us say you opted solution number two. Okay, so once you okay opted for solution two, okay, so create a blueprint. Okay, so how exactly I want to, like let us say solution 2 is coaxial cable. Okay, I want to lay a cable from Hyderabad to, let us say, Bangalore. Okay, so how I have to lay this particular, okay, or how I have to implement this solution. Okay, you need to have a blueprint. Blueprint is nothing but writing it on a paper. Okay, like let us say from here, first first step what I have to do, second step what I have to do. So you have to jot down all the points. Okay, that is called, that is nothing but project preparation. We call it as a blueprinting. Okay, we call it as a final preparation, go live, support. All these words are same. Okay, so it is nothing but we need to create a blueprint. Okay, now once that is done, okay, so you have laid a cable. Okay, now you need to check, okay, whether it is working properly or not. Okay, so whether it is working properly or not, okay, you need to run and monitor. Okay, so in this particular phase, okay, so here here once you do the blueprint, we deploy. What do you mean by deploy? We do the actual work here. Okay, so we lay the cable, we put some people, and we start laying the cable, etc. Okay, so once you lay the cable, okay, finally, okay, once it becomes a workable product, okay, workable product, and you have to see whether you can optimize it. What do you mean by optimize? Like let us say once I laid the cable, I can able to transmit like 100 okay megabits per second. Okay, 100 megabits per second. Okay, so over a period of time, by reducing certain resources or optimizing certain resources, or okay, increasing the efficiency of a bandwidth, whether I can able to convert this 100 mbps to 1000 mbps, etc. Okay, so whether you have to continuously start improving the process. Okay, so these are five phases which we have. Okay, so first phase is analysis, second is design, third one is implementation, run and monitor, and last one is optimization. So what do you mean by analysis phase? Analysis phase is nothing but in this particular phase, okay, so we identify the needs and we define. Second, in design phase, we evaluate the solution. Third one, we create a blueprint. Okay, identification, final reporting, go live, and support. And finally, okay, run and monitor. We deploy, like let us say in SDLC, what is the stage where we have this software will be ready in the third stage. Okay, so in the in the third stage the software will be ready here. Okay, where exactly the implementation of the implementation will be done in run and monitor. And finally, once you lay the cable, you have to optimize it. Okay, so these are the these are the five stages which we have in business process management. Okay, now next one. So if at all you see, as I said, it is only for the purpose of BPM is only for the purpose of automating certain flow of you have certain flow of activities. How do you automate using ERP? So basically, okay, BPM is about automation in the ERP. That's it. Okay. So next one is called as a Six Sigma certification and total quality management. Okay. So here Six Sigma and total quality management, okay, will differ from BPM. Okay, so BPM is just an okay process steps. Okay, or it is nothing but we have certain steps. Okay, how do you automate that particular steps? That's it. Okay, but whereas a Six Sigma and total quality management are different. Okay, so Six Sigma certification or Six Sigma, okay, process, okay, is nothing but it is called as how do we improve the quality of the product, okay? How do we improve the quality of product, okay? So if at all you adopt this particular Six Sigma process, what will happen? That means you already have an existing process. If at all you implement or if at all you use this Six Sigma, okay, so that you continuously improve the product, okay, and okay, how do you improve the product quality? Is simple, okay. Whatever the defects you have in version 1, if you remove the defects in version 1, in version 2, okay, you'll be having a quality product, okay. So here this particular Six Sigma process will help in identifying the defects in the business process. So once you identify the defects, once you remove the defects, okay, what will happen? Automatically the quality of the product will be improved. If you see total quality management or Six Sigma process, both are required for the purpose of improving the quality of the product. Okay, so Six Sigma basically will be used in various processes. For example, in okay Mumbai, okay, so we have this Mumbai Dabbawala. Okay, so in this particular Mumbai Dabbawala, they have a process. Okay, what do you mean by Mumbai Dabbawala? These people will deliver the lunch boxes from one place to the person, okay, the customer's office premises, okay, and the error rate of this particular process is okay is almost nil, okay. They have okay, will be okay, there'll be exchange of these particular boxes like in lakhs, okay, but okay, they always deliver the product to the right customer, okay. There will not be any instance, okay, where they have wrongly delivered the lunch box, okay. The error rate will be almost zero, okay. So they gave Six Sigma certification process people came, studied the process, and they gave a certification called as Six Sigma certified business process, okay. That means if the error rate is very minimal, okay, like 0.5%, okay, in 1 million transactions, okay, then only they give this particular certification, okay. So basically, why do we require Six Sigma certificate and total quality management? These two certifications or these two processes are required for the purpose of identifying the defects in the existing process. So once you identify the defects and remove the defects, okay, automatically the quality of the product will be improved, okay. So here, okay, as I said, okay, like SDLC, okay, in these three, okay, not in three, four, okay, like business process management, Six Sigma, total quality management, and BPR, these four will be having certain stages, okay. So here, okay, so what are different stages, okay, we have. So first thing, why do we require Six Sigma? Okay, so for the purpose of identification of defects, identifying defects, especially in the manufacturing sector, especially in the manufacturing sector. So once you identify and remove, what will happen? Quality of the product will be improved, okay. So they use a technique called as DMAIC, okay. So what do you mean by DMAIC? First one is define, okay. So what do you mean by define? Define is nothing but, okay, let us say there's a customer, okay. So we take a small example like let us say a car manufacturing company, okay. So you already sold a car to a customer, okay. So once customer starts using this car, okay, so you take a feedback, right, okay. So you take whether the car is nice, okay, or do you require any other more improvements are required, how exactly is the okay, like the process, etc. You try to take the feedback, so that once you take the feedback in the next version, okay, you develop the product, okay. Now let us say there's a customer, okay. So what you have to do, first you have to identify the requirements of the customer, okay. So what is okay your requirement, etc. you need to identify, okay. So once you identify, first you need to identify the basic requirements. Once you identify the basic requirements, then these basic requirements, okay, whether they are critical or not, you need to identify, okay. You need to identify whether these particular requirements are critical, okay. So let us say these three requirements are critical, then okay, when I say critical, that means there should be an improvement in the quality of the product, okay, simple, okay. just I want I want a car for 1 lakh, okay, and it should have an like a petrol efficiency or petrol mileage of 100 kilometers per liter. No, those are not an okay business requirement. Those are fantasies. Okay, so okay, that it should be once you take the requirements from the customer, because customer will sometimes will give the fantasies. Okay, so can you design an engine which can give 100 kilometers per liter? It's not possible. Okay, practically it is not possible. Okay, so once you identify these particular requirements, you need to see whether these particular requirements are critical to improve the quality. Okay, so whether these requirements are critical to improve the quality. So this is called as CTQ. Okay, so let the customer give 10 requirements. Okay, some requirements may not be practically possible to improve the quality of the product. Okay, it is not possible to improve the quality of the product. First you need to identify, okay, whether these requirements are critical for the purpose of improving the quality of the product. Okay, so product improvement is the major aspect which we see in this particular Six Sigma. Okay, so that is the first one. So once you do this, okay, in the second stage is measure. Okay, now I'll take first requirement of the customer. Let us say the requirement of the customer, okay, the requirement identified a small defect. Okay, like let us say if I am going in between 30 to 40 kilometers, let us say I am taking the requirement of mileage. Okay, so if the customer says, okay, if I am going at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, okay, your vehicle is giving a mileage, let us say, at 21 kilometers per liter. However, if I go in the range of, okay, like in between more than like 41 to, let us say, 60, okay, it is giving a mileage of 18 kilometers per liter. If I go, okay, 60, okay, over and above 60, it is drastically giving a mileage of, let us say, 9 kilometers per liter. Okay, so whether it is in okay, uh, whether there is a space for improvement, yes, there is obviously space for improvement, because let us say, okay, a person has purchased a car, and you are asking that particular person go in between, okay, 40 to 60, okay, in an highway. Okay, is it possible? Because if you want a mileage, go in 40 to 60. No, you can't say that. Okay, so even if he goes more than 60, okay, it should give at least like 16 kilometers per liter, or 1 kilometer like 17 kilometers per liter. Okay, that means there's a defect here. Okay, so you have to see that particular requirement, like requirement is mileage, then you need to measure it. Okay, how do you measure? By a proper data. Okay, you should have the data, and you need to identify what exactly, okay, if at all, what exactly is happening. Okay, where exactly is the deviation? Okay, so we need to identify by using certain data. Okay, so that is called as measure. Okay, so okay, once you have this particular measure, then analyze. The third stage is analyze. Okay, why exactly this particular issue we are getting? Okay, so we need to identify, okay, using certain graphical techniques. Okay, so how exactly the mileage is coming, etc., using a bar diagram. Okay, like let us say 30 to 40, it is giving 21 kilometers, like bar diagram representation, etc. It is used for the purpose of identifying, okay, okay, the problem. That's it. Okay, so in the measure, once you identify this particular thing, like let us say 30 to 40, 21, 40 to 60, 18 kilometers, over and above 9 kilometers. Okay, that means there is a defect. Okay, that means there is a defect. Okay, so this particular defect, okay, is called as a variance. Okay, it is called as a variance, or it is called as sigma. Okay, so if at all you take the sigma between these two things, okay, the sigma is 9 kilometers per liter. Okay, the variance is 9 kilometers per liter. Okay, so you need to reduce it. Okay, how do you reduce it? By analyzing. Okay, so in this particular analyze, okay, you need to identify what is the root cause. Okay, root cause for this particular problem. Okay, so you need to identify what is the root cause, why drastically the mileage is coming from 18 kilometers to 9 kilometers. You need to identify. Okay, now once you identify, like let us say there is a small problem in the engine, because of that, okay, the mileage is drastically reducing. Okay, so once you identify the root cause, okay, so once you identify the root cause, then you need to see whether we can improve the product. Okay, the next one is improve the product. Okay, how do you improve the product? By fixing the root cause. By fixing the root cause, we can improve it. Okay, so once you fix that, like let us say there is a small nut or there is a small thing, okay, in the design of the engine, because of that, okay, the mileage is coming down. Okay, so if you rectify that particular defect, if you fix that particular root cause, okay, then the mileage will be same. Okay, let us assume. Okay, so you change it, you change that particular design, you test it. Okay, that is called as pilot testing. Okay, like in one car you change that particular aspect, okay, and you test, okay, whether it's working properly or not, whether the root cause which I have fixed, okay, is deriving a, okay, improvement or not, you need to check. Okay, so that is called as improvement. Okay, so once you improve, and last one is control. Okay, so control is nothing but it's a standardization. Okay, so the process will be documented and standardized. Okay, the process will be documented and standardized. So these are different stages of Six Sigma. Okay, basically the Six Sigma will be used in manufacturing entities for the purpose of identifying the defects and to improve the product quality. Okay, so how many stages we have? We have like 5 DMA IC. So define, first one is define, second one is measure, analyze, improve and control. So these are the 5 stages which we have in Six Sigma. Okay, so basically it is used for the purpose of identifying the defects and to improve the product quality. Okay, next one is total quality management, okay, which is similar to that this particular Six Sigma. Okay, however there is only one difference which you need to remember. So okay, so what is the first one difference? This particular, okay, I mean TQM. Okay, so this particular TQM, I mean it started in the manufacturing sector, but slowly all the sectors adopted this particular technique. Like this particular technique will be used in schools or in highway maintenance or in hotel management. Okay, so basically Six Sigma is used. Okay, the basic idea of Six Sigma is used for the purpose of manufacturing entities, but total quality management is not that way. Okay, it can be, even though it is started with manufacturing entity, after few days, okay, it started it is having an high prevalent in different sectors as well, like health sector, highways, okay, highway management, and okay, like hotel management, etc. Also, okay, these also has 4 stages: plan, do, check, and plan, do, check and act. Okay, so it is similar to DMA IC. Okay, so there is no like extra points which need to be explained, so that is the reason I am skipping. But don't, okay, you should not skip it, just read the text, you'll understand. Okay, so after that we have a beautiful, okay, so what we have studied, sir, so this we have done. Okay, so Six Sigma and total quality management, these two are required for the purpose of improving quality. Improving quality, how do we improve the quality? By identifying defects and fixing them. Okay, and fixing them. Okay, so basically Six Sigma certification is for the purpose of identifying the defects and fixing the defects. And okay, this business process reengineering is completely a new thing. Okay, what do you mean by business process reengineering, sir? The name itself will tell. Okay, business process reengineering, that means whatever existing business process you have, okay, dump it. Okay, throw that business process in the dustbin and start with a new thing. Okay, if at all you see total quality management, okay, etc. Okay, there'll be a slightly improvement, like 5% to 10%, or like okay, 85% to 90% itself. There will be always a slight improvement. Okay, but this particular BPR is called as a radical change. Okay, it is called as a radical change. Okay, why it is called as a radical change, or why it is called as an like dramatical achievement? Okay, because okay, so here, okay, simple. Okay, business process engineering is nothing but scrap the earlier one, adopt a new process. Simple. Okay, so here we need to understand 3 terms. First one, dramatic achievement. Second one, radical redesign. And third one, fundamental rethinking. fundamental rethinking. So what do you mean by what do you mean by dramatic achievement? It is nothing but, okay, there will be an, okay, means of achieving from 80% to 90%. Okay, so unlike like total quality management, let us say we have an achievement at 70%. Okay, we can improve up to, okay, 75 only. Here from 0 to 80. Okay, so from 0 to 90, this much improvement there will be there. Okay, that is the reason it is called as a business process reengineering. Okay, so the simple, the complete entire existing business process, throw it in the dustbin and start with a new one. Okay, so that is called as business process reengineering. Okay, so this, what do you mean by radical redesign? As I said, clean slate approach. It is called as a clean slate approach. What do you mean by clean slate approach? Dump the existing business process, use a new business process. Okay, and fundamental rethinking. Okay, fundamental rethinking is nothing but, okay, whatever process which is not giving or which is not adding a value, okay, which is not adding a value to the customer, then dump it. Okay, so you don't use that particular business process. For example, let us say you have a debit card business process and a credit card business process. Okay, now let us say there is one customer who wants a debit card as well as a credit card. Okay, now what he has to do, he has to go to the, okay, credit card department, he has to give all the documents, he has to go to the debit card, sorry, debit, I mean credit, if at all he first goes to debit card, then second again he has to go to the credit card department and again in the same bank. Okay, he has to give all the documents. Okay, so unnecessarily there is a repetition. Instead of that, I have a single window. Okay, I have a single application form. Okay, if at all he wants debit card, he will tick debit card. If at all he wants credit card, he will tick credit card. Okay, if at all he wants both, he'll tick both. Okay, so based on the customer requirement, I have only one team. Okay, I'll not be having multiple teams. I have only single team. All the other teams I dump them. Okay, so I have one team, okay, who will be satisfying the customer requirement. So what is the advantage of this particular approach? The operational cost will be coming down. Okay, the operational cost will be coming down. Earlier, like let us say 50 people are working. Okay, now I can, okay, work with, okay, 5 people. Okay, so that means, okay, from 50 to 5. Okay, so I 45 people I can remove. Okay, I can remove means they will not be throwing them out of the company, they will be used in another resource where the manual requirement is there. Okay, so this is how I can reduce the operational costs. Okay, so these are three terms which you need to understand. First one is dramatical achievement. Okay, there will be an achievement from 0 to 80, 0 to 90. Okay, second one is called as radical redesigning. It is nothing but a clean slate approach. Whatever existing business process you have, you dump them and start with a new business process. And third one, always it has it this particular fundamental approach will always remove the non value added things. Okay, so always it should add a value. Okay, wherever you have a redundancy, okay, so you remove that particular redundancy so that it improves the value, and also it reduces the operational cost. Okay, so this is about business process re-engineering, and we have a particular question. So we studied Six Sigma, we studied total quality management. Okay, so we studied, explain about business process re-engineering. So next one, okay, like what are the key success factors that are required? Okay, for a BPR. Okay, I'll tell the outer view. There is no requirement for you to read the entire thing. Okay, so first one is called as, okay, organization wide commitment. Okay, so first one is organization commitment, because, okay, if you are saying that your entire department is changing, okay, there'll be certain things. Okay, there should be change of infrastructure, there will be change of work culture, etc. All these particular things they have to take care of. Okay, so one person commitment, we can't able to do this business process reengineering. There should be a commitment from the entire organization. That is the first thing. And always there should be a top level management. Okay, so if you don't have a top level management support and the engineering people or the other persons has to implement this business process reengineering, it is not possible. Okay, and also we have certain things like BPR team composition. This is the first thing. Okay, so what is the first successful factor? First one is business process reengineering composition. Okay, so we have to have a group of people. Okay, like technical experts, process owners, etc. There should be a group of people, and this group of people should be taking the responsibility of implementing a business process reengineering. What do you mean by business process engineering? That means You have existing process, you dump it and you start a new business process. Okay, so when you are starting a new business process, always you should have a team. Okay, that is the reason. Okay, we have certain committees. Okay, so in GST also we have a committee meetings. Okay, GST committee meeting. Okay, that means all state heads will come together and they discuss and they'll will come to a conclusion. The same way here also we should have a certain people, okay, a committee from different okay departments, process owners. When I say process owners, from different departments, technical experts, etc., they should come together and they have to adopt this particular business process re-engineering. They have to make certain key decisions and recommendations. Okay, so that is called as business process team composition. Second is business needs analysis. Okay, so after a series, okay, after a series of sessions that are held with the process owners and stakeholders, and all the ideas will be evaluated to outline and conceptualize, that means implement. Okay, the desired business process. This is the second one. Okay, so what is the second one? Second one is nothing but second one is nothing but so in the second BPR team compose, I mean B, so BPM need analysis. So this is the thing which you need to understand. Okay, like business needs analysis. Okay, the all stakeholders should come together and they have to adopt a technique.